Sure.
Are we on yet, or somebody want to tell me when we're on?
Yeah. Starting soon. He rolls with the punches well, as you can tell. Yeah, he is.
Nisha left the room.
He did. He wanted to jump out and run after you. 20.
Welcome to the Final Hour podcast, coming to you from the original Living Word Christian Center out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. We are live right now.
Yay.
And I explained the original Living Word Christian Center because there's another Living Word Christian Center in Chicago.
Yeah.
But they're not the originals. We're the originals. And it's a really good church. And it's a Word of Faith church. Pastor Bill Winston down there. But
When you got a great name, you got a great name.
we're the original Living Word Christian Center. They can be Living Word Christian Center. They're just not the original. So that's why I say that every time.
Do you want to introduce our guest
Special guest.
This is Rollo.
This is Rollo,
Rollo-
the famous Rollo.
Rollo the Viking, not the candy. He's not named after the candy.
But he's as sweet as the candy.
Because there was a Viking, Normandy, all that tried to take Paris, France, 6 times. His name was Rollo, and he was a descendant of Ragnar. This is true. This is real history. The French.
Look how noble he is.
Look at how noble,
The French
yes. And
were-
doesn't he look like he could take over 6?
The French were no, he failed 6
Oh,
times.
okay,
He
well,
failed
that,
6 times.
And the French were so sick of Rollo the Viking trying to take Paris that they gave him Normandy. Okay, you can check your history on this.
Brilliant.
Rolly.
Rollo the Viking had 5 kings come from him. All right, and the Normans. You ever heard of the Normans? Famous warriors. Rollo the Viking actually turned Normandy, France, into its own little country.
Can you hear him?
I can. What a great history lesson, Jim. Thank you
So-
so much.
Hence, Rollo the Viking, who is a descendant on my father's side. We are descendants of Rollo the Viking, the Hammonds. We really are.
But
Thank you again, Jim, for that history lesson.
Check the family tree.
I believe you if that's what you
I'm
say.
just trying to explain. That's kind of a dumb name.
But you were naming him Rollo before you knew it was in the family. He was already Rollo.
That's not true. That's not true.
Yes.
That's not true.
Hayden, are you online? Can you verify
true.
that in the chat for
That's
me,
not true.
please?
okay, this dog
Anyways.
is warm.
Okay, Rollo, thank you
Rollo.
so much for joining us this
What-
morning. It was
what-
great to have you.
It was good to see you.
Bye.
All right, bye.
He's a good boy.
You don't need. Are you going to keep the shark on the table?
Here, you give him the shark.
Rollo
Loves the shark.
Thank you.
Kanisha, thank you so much.
Kanisha,
should I
the
not-
announcement girl watches Rollo during
So I shouldn't
our.
have given the
right.
history, huh?
No, it
I
was
like
great.
the history.
I said thank you,
That's
Jim,
a
for
true
the
story.
history lesson.
Yeah,
Rollo.
I mean, Rollo doesn't have DNA from Rollo,
No.
but he's adopted into the family.
No, but my father
The
does.
family of God. Yes,
Therefore,
Jim.
I
Right.
do.
Right.
Right.
There
You're proud
there
of that
are
fact.
Yes, we are.
He's
Rollo the
owning
Viking.
that. That's
got
good.
so many people on
We
and
do.
hanging out at the Final Hour
I'm
podcast
getting
live.
vibes that I shouldn't have gone into all
Jim,
that.
you are
Why?
overthinking.
I like it.
Are you an overthinker?
No, I can tell by your
Definitely
your
an
reaction.
overthinker.
Can tell by your reaction, Lonaiah, in the tank top.
I was sincere.
Lonaiah out of dress code.
This is in dress code.
I think if we pull up the church,
tank tops
if
are
we pull
allowed.
up the church dress code, I'm pretty sure
Oh man.
it will
It is
say
95 degrees outside.
Charlotte was first in the chat today. Thank you for watching, Charlotte.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Samuel Dupre Tad. Yeah. Sorry for messing up. Thanks for being here, Bethany. How you doing? Welcome to the Final Hour podcast.
Bethany,
Live.
Bethany,
Spiros.
the Bethany,
Hi.
Yeah.
the Bethany.
Maybe if you're outside of Minnesota in the chat, you should say where you're from,
Yes.
so we know.
We
'cause
would
That
we
helps
love to
us.
find out.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not from Minnesota, please
Yep.
please let us know in the chat
Absolutely.
where you're tuning in from.
Yep.
And so
Yeah, absolutely. We got a lot of people
We do.
joining us. Thanks for being here. It's
Yes.
the 75th episode for the
75th.
Final Hour podcast. Can you imagine? Did you imagine 75 episodes when we started that in February of 22?
I did, but I didn't know.
Did you, Jim?
I didn't.
I did
Yeah,
not.
I did. I thought we would do hundreds in a row. I thought we would never miss a week,
Well,
and we
we're
have.
Basically.
We have missed a couple weeks, haven't we?
Yeah, but barely.
Like, yeah. Not really.
Barely.
We've missed 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and
That's a long time.
But it
though.
wasn't. It was things that were not in our control. But
Jim named Rollo before he knew of the ancestry. Thank you, Hayden, for confirming that. I was right. I love you.
Jimmy Gapp,
we need to
thank
check
you
the dress
for
code
the
at the church, Lonaiah.
thank you for the tin hat status. Appreciate
Carol
it.
Howard, Hanover. All right.
Hey, we got to Illinois.
That's right.
All right. We've got in Illinois. We've got.
We're intrastate or interstate.
So if you're from
already.
Illinois, are you
Yeah.
a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan?
Yeah, let us know.
Let
or
us
a
know.
neither fan. Or a sick of Major League Baseball fan.
I love Major
Let us
League
know,
Baseball.
Sherry.
What do you think about the clock, Major League Baseball?
Oh, I think it's good actually. It's cut the
Yes.
time down, but as a pitcher, like having pitchers for boys, I can see where it would mess with you because sometimes you got to like collect yourself and get yourself back.
Got to be ready to.
What? Think of the pitcher. Think of how much
Yeah.
pressure is on you. The whole
Whatever.
game
He should
rides
be
on your
throwing
shoulder.
another pitch in 10 seconds. And that's a lot of the reason that I have not watched baseball. I used to time the pitchers on the mound.
It'd be like
It'd be over a minute.
like a minute between
pitches,
Right.
fooling around, and then the batter steps out
Yeah.
after a minute and a half.
Yeah, I
and
mean it's a mental
it's like-
game.
it's-
It's a mental
sure.
game.
Okay, so
all-
yes, they should be throwing
all
a pitch, in my opinion, about every 15 seconds, right? Sorry. Hey, Jimmy Gapp.
Yes.
Tin Hatters? Oh, he's calling us Tin Hatters, Jimmy Gapp. That's John's brother.
Yeah,
So-
that's right.
Are you guys ready for our?
Oh,
Do you
look,
find some sort of camaraderie?
Sherry came back and said, don't do sports.
Yeah.
She doesn't do sports.
Sorry.
Jim, do you
Sorry.
find any sort of camaraderie with me knowing that you have a brother named John and I have a brother named
I
Jim?
never even thought of that until right now.
Are you serious?
Never.
What?
I've thought about that.
Wow.
But you know what? There's a lot of John and Jims. 'Cause
Jim
my-
Cohen, Josh Cohen's, you know
Yeah.
them. His brother, he has a brother named John. I know
My
like 4 or
dad
5
has a brother
pairs
named
of
Jim,
John and Jim.
and he's a John and Jim. But everybody in my dad's family is
Yeah.
named after a Peter Pan character. John, Jim,
Which one is-
Peter, and Wendy.
yeah, because Jim
But
is
like
Hook.
that was
James
before.
Hook is
yeah,
yeah.
that was before I think Peter Pan came about. But
You know.
anyways,
10 Hatters. Yeah, we're getting to the point where we're going there.
Here's
Wait until the series after the Nephilim. And then we're going to talk about we're getting into the Epstein stuff, okay? Because
You have to.
if you don't get in, we are to the point where if you do not understand what went on there and
Yeah.
who was there
Yep.
and who was on that island,
Yeah.
you're not going to understand what's going on in the world.
and
Or you're going to have a
governments.
harder time understanding what's going on in these governments.
Yep.
Let me put
And
it this
so-
way: the U.S. government was more willing to come out with aliens than they
Yeah.
were the list
Epstein's
of
lot of
Epstein's
visitors.
Yeah, that tells you enough about the aliens thing that it's a giant distraction.
Right.
And
Well, we have information on that too. It's
yeah.
coming. It's
Yeah,
coming.
why don't you read? We want to honor the people that wrote in the questions.
Yes, thanks
and,
for
and
writing
if you're
in.
on
I
here
appreciate
and you
that.
have a question, you can write it in
Yeah.
the chat. We'll get to those.
And
Absolutely.
just welcome our live audience and say thank you so much
Yeah.
for tuning in with us live.
is fun.
I thought we would have maybe 8 people after the last attempt to go live.
That was rough.
Yes,
We've
that
had some
was-
people though write in and say, "When are you guys going live again?" So the Final Hour podcast family loves
And
the live.
I have
chat.
to be honest with you, all right? I was in Fort Worth, Texas
Thank you for being honest about
for
that.
Monday and Tuesday with my dad, and
at the Southwest Believers Convention.
SWBC.
and we did 4 meetings, 4 services in 20 hours. And so we basically, I feel like I just got back,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
just got back. And so I am not as prepared as I normally am.
It's all right.
And so
The Holy Spirit will help you.
Yes. Normally I know
Facts.
everything that I am going to say, and I do not know everything I'm going to say today.
Wow, he's going off the cuff.
Yeah.
Usually,
This'll be-
I
I
usually
know
go off the cuff.
nothing, and it just happens.
It
Yeah,
does, John. You're
Yeah,
right.
John knows
Hey,
nothing.
John, you should read your emails that I send you.
I do
Okay.
on a regular basis,
All
like
right.
right now.
So our first question came in from Kayla. She said
Look,
what?
Kayla just said, let's
Yeah.
hear some truth.
that.
It
Or
might,
is it
might
different
or
spelling?
might not be the same Kayla.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. She
sorry.
says, "Good day, fellow watchmen. I'm a longtime
Mhm.
watcher of the podcast. Love you guys. Love the church. Thanks for all you do."
Struggling to hear. So there are people, Charlotte Cole just said struggling to hear. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Lonaiah.
That's okay.
Okay.
She said, I've had a question about the current topic, which is the Nephilim, if you've been watching and you are a subscriber every week or a watcher every week, that I've wondered about before when learning about the Nephilim.
Mm-hmm.
I understand they are children of fallen angels and human women, and that the earth had to be cleansed because Jesus came to save humankind, God's creation, and they were no longer human. My question is, are all Nephilim inherently evil? I mean, they didn't choose to be born. What happened after they were born? Was there absolutely no good Nephilim ever? I understand it was a relatively godless society and evil was rampant, but it's just so hard to picture when at least Noah was hearing from God that he was saved because of his pure bloodline. But setting aside DNA, was there nothing else redeemable at all in the Nephilim?
No. In the end, no, I don't believe so. Or he would have saved him. God in his mercy would have tried to save him. You say, oh, here's a kind Nephilim
Yeah.
family over here.
Well, I have
Right.
a little bit of a take on that.
Yeah, but let me give you my take first,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so I do not believe that I'll just tell you, ever heard of the dogmen
Yes.
that the Indians swear
yeah.
by?
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, these dogmen, my daughter's going, oh my gosh, she's talking about the dogmen. These dogmen look like the same Egyptian god that you see on Egyptian in the Egyptian pyramids, right? That
Yeah.
dog-looking creature, human, muscular, strong body.
Like the Anubis.
Yes.
Yeah.
But a dog head.
Yep.
And people swear by these dogmen. It's almost like a Bigfoot thing. And this is why I'm saying, yes, we are going, we're getting
Right.
to be 10 hatters completely, right?
Basically,
By the stuff.
sometimes.
But let me tell you something. People that have experienced relationships with these dogmen and don't ask to go out there, don't even go out there. If you go out there with the purpose of seeing these things, you're going to see it. And I'm just telling you, they're not all bad. The experiences that they've had, most of you have no idea what I'm talking about. But I will just tell you, there have been, even look into the Greek gods and the Viking gods. They weren't all bad.
Yep.
Right? And they weren't all. There were actually some gods that were seen as very good, right?
Right.
But still, can I just say this? It's demon blood. It's demon blood.
Right.
And you fought the blood of fallen angels. No, I do not believe it's redeemable. Otherwise, God would have redeemed what was redeemable out of that crew. And I'll tell you about the Nephilim really quick. Something to think about. A person that I completely trust, very spiritual person, a prayer warrior, has a business. Well, I'll just say up in Elk River. Someone came into her place of business at closing hours at the nighttime, and she knew in her heart right away, this is a Nephilim in human form. And they get out to the parking lot. He just happened to be out in the parking lot, and she asked him flat out, straight up, "Are you a Nephilim?" And he didn't even blink an eye, and he said, "I absolutely am."
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Like he knew what most people don't even know. You know, this is somebody. So I think we're going to see and find out. And I know people are like, oh, that is so out there. Is it?
Yeah.
Is it out
right.
there? Is it out there? I know. Okay, we're talking about, we're not talking about Bigfoot and the abominable snowman and aliens and dogmen and blah, blah,
Well,
blah. But
don't you think Bigfoot is part of the Nephilim?
Let's just not go to.
Well, actually, that's a question in here. So,
okay.
No, I mean,
All right.
So we
All right.
answered it.
So no, I do not believe they're redeemable, and otherwise they would have been redeemed in God's.
But they were
amazing
born
mercy.
evil. They were born evil.
Okay, my take is the reason that they were wiped out pre-Jesus is they could not be allowed to corrupt the line of David, the line of, from Adam all the way to Jesus.
Right.
So they could not be allowed. Whether or not.
Why is that?
Because then they might have corrupted the
seed.
The seed, that was why Noah was seen as righteous. It was in his, or perfect, because it was in his generation.
It had to be. Jesus had to be 100% human.
100% human.
He had to be.
So
But
Noah and his
now
wife got married, so they didn't
Right.
have their kids till they were 600. So
Right.
you had 500 years where
Right.
people could corrupt the seed, and they were just pure, and their kids were pure.
But in the same way, there are angels that have chosen their allegiances and would not after Jesus is born, and that's not the concern anymore.
Right.
Would a Nephilim then be able to go, you know what? I know what my heritage and my lineage has done, but I choose to serve the Most High God. I don't know. We don't really know.
No, we don't.
But I think you can use the word and say judge a tree by its fruit and see what's going on. I don't know, but
Well, we know that in Daniel that the Nephilim are going to mix themselves with the seed of men, and so I just don't. I'm not going to be a guy that welcomes in the Nephilim,
right?
All right, and say, hey,
no,
I believe I can witness to you.
No, right.
And I think this stuff is going to come prevalent. We're hearing about it and we laugh at it.
Right.
Oh, this lady up in Elk River saw a Nephilim. Okay, let's just watch. Wait 2 years from now.
Right.
Wait 2 years from now. All right, and I know that sounds out there, but this is where we are living. We are living in an out there time.
It
all
is.
right, and so let's.
Ready?
There's a quick question, Tammy Joe. Thoughts on the rapture? Could it happen around feast time or some other time? Around a feast time?
Tammy.
Yes.
Jeremiah's
Tammy
mom.
Joe.
Yes. The feast of John.
Tabernacles.
Yes, it's coming. Or is it
Feast of Trumpets.
Yes, Feast of Trumpets
That
in
one.
the fall.
Isn't that both
That's a teaching.
few weeks apart from each other?
Feast of Trumpets. The rapture is coming. The Feast of Trumpets. I did a series called Signs, Prophecies, and Events of the End Times.
Check
Back
that
in
out
2017, did a whole message.
It's still one of our best messages on the Living Word YouTube.
It's a seven message series, and for me to explain why the rapture is coming on the Feast of Trumpets it's too much to explain. But yes, it's coming, and look, you can't have the day. All right, that's what the Bible says, but you can have the season.
Right.
You can know the season. All right, you might not know the day. All right, and so, Jimmy, what do you think about the book Birthright by Tim? Do you
I've
know?
never heard it. I've read it.
It's a book.
But Jimmy, we will check it out and get back to you.
Jimmy's been sending me a few things.
Okay, ready?
Okay.
Next question here first.
Jimmy's John's
From
brother.
Elena, how close do you think we are to the harpazo of the church? I know we don't know the day or hour or can't have the date set, but if you could give an opinion about when you feel it might happen by or before.
What is a harpazo?
That's the rapture.
Oh,
That's
the
a Greek
taking
word.
away. The taking away.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's the Greek word. And okay, I'm not going to be one of those guys. What's her first name?
Elena.
Thank you, Elena, for writing in.
Thank
but
you
I'm not
for
going to be
the
that guy.
Question, Elena.
But I
So
will
nice
tell
of
you
you.
this. If I had $2 million,
Okay.
I would bet $1 million.
Did you win the lottery to get that $2 million?
No,
Okay.
it would be way before 2030. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And
That's
do
my
I look
feeling.
stupid if we're sitting here in 2031? Yeah.
No.
So what? That will be that
Not
much
really.
closer.
Not really. I
I-
think a
I'm
lot
just-
of
I
people
don't think so.
that.
Yeah.
I've told them
Yeah.
where I think we're at.
Yeah.
And the Shemitah year, I just,
Shemitah.
no one even knows exactly when the Shemitah years are.
Right.
I'm not a big Shemitah guy, right? But I'll tell you, let me just tell you this.
Sounds
It's
delicious.
Way before 2030. That's all I'll tell you. Okay, and because I'm not going to be that guy that it's if you look at everything.
Yeah. We talked about that in the early episodes about, some possible seasons of, maybe the math works from the triumphant entrance into Jerusalem from Jesus to some soon coming years. So there's not a lot of skepticism from me about that.
Wait, did you say 2026 as the math?
I said the math said 2026-ish.
Yes. Yeah. And so that's what based on a math formula, right? And there's a lot on this, but I'm just going to tell you way before 2030. And if I look stupid and we're sitting here in 2035, we'll be that much closer anyways. But I can't see. I think that 2030 is a very key year. It's a very key year for the side of evil. All their goals are set at 2030. And I think they're gonna make those goals about everyone owning nothing and being extremely happy.
Well, we had in the last few years the tetrad of the 4 blood moons in the last couple of years, 3 years, 4 years ago. In 2032 and 2033, there's another tetrad of.
We're going to talk about those two in our next coming up episodes.
Oh, sweet.
The blood moons.
But that is, There's some things that are signs that are pointed out in not just Revelation, but other places in the Bible that they're signs of the season. So
yes,
there's a lot to be said about we're in the last days, even if we don't know the exact day.
Listen, I wouldn't even be blown away to see it in 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. You say, oh, what about the transfer?
I'd be good.
What about the transfer of wealth? Oh, what about the big end time harvest? What about the latter rain? And I believe all that stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, right.
Right? Before the rapture. But let me tell you something. There's guys out there that are really well known that don't believe that. And I believe Jesus is coming for a glorious church.
Yeah.
All right. That we know that. All right. A glorious church. And so I believe in a major harvest. I believe in the latter rain. I believe the power of God will be stronger than it was in Acts.
Yeah.
And I even believe in a transfer of wealth. I believe in all that. But you know what? There's people out there that don't and that know a lot. And for that reason, I'm not. Sometimes I think, wow, this thing could come in 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be completely. I'd be grabbing my dog on the way up, right?
Yoink. Let's go, Rolo.
But it could happen in a day. Literally, the glory of God could fall in an instant, and in a day you could have.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you look at California, they're baptizing 5,000 people at one time in the ocean.
Yeah.
So it is happening.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Anyways, this is from Christy. This is a fun one.
That's awesome to see. Adam Beaudry's been watching this.
I know. I did see that. Hi, Adam.
How you doing, Bodes? Seen it. That's awesome.
Do you want to give some shout outs to some people, John?
Yeah, I was going to say, so Julie Schmidt is watching from Champlin. She's gotten the Ryan Peterson books.
Oh, good. Those are good.
She's looking forward to that. Hayden Tawfiq from
Tennessee. That's going to bother her.
I already said Hayden confirmed that Jim named Rollo before he knew it was.
And then she did send us another one. God's name.
Anubis.
Anubis.
Yeah. And Anubis is, in Hayden's opinion and in my opinion, is a Nephilim form running around the United States.
Surprised.
And I will not say any more than that. But if you go looking for the dog man, you will find him. He's in Wisconsin.
I think they're on Reddit. If you go to Reddit and you Google it.
Go looking for the dog man, because a lot of people have seen the dog man. I'd say more than Bigfoot. And now we're probably going to lose some subscribers on that,
I don't think so.
No,
I say
people are probably like, finally someone's
someone's talking about what is very, very apparent.
The elephant in the room.
Also, Jennifer is watching. Jennifer, thanks for being here. And Sherry, thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, this one's from Christy. Ready?
Send in more questions.
Christy is she's managing a blood drive today, so she's not sure she's going to be able to watch it, but we'll answer this because she said she'll watch it later. So she said she's coming down to town in a few weeks, and she's going to make a trip to the Minnesota State Fair. Yeah, she's an online host.
Yeah, she is.
So she said, what are your favorite foods, and is there one you absolutely don't want? How
Yeah.
about Klaus? Does he have a favorite? Klaus.
Anything with kraut, sauerkraut, sweet kraut. It's always the best.
Do you put alligator, or do you put
Ooh.
sauerkraut on your alligator?
With
Klaus.
No, you just eat the alligator just plain. But it
But you
tastes
can
like
eat
chicken.
it in a hot dog form, I think.
I love
Yeah,
all
we
of those
just get it on a
sausages.
stick.
And
But
all
hey-
the American ones are the worst.
Drop your favorite foods in the chat, people.
Yeah.
Your favorite Minnesota State Fair food.
If you've never been to the Minnesota State Fair,
Jim's over there being a
any
skeptic
sort
about
of
the fair.
fair food, but the Minnesota State Fair, it's real good.
I don't agree. Okay, look, I haven't been to the
It's
state
fair food. What are you expecting?
in the 10
A
years.
Michelin star meal.
Yes.
And so my daughter comes up last August for the specific purpose
Yeah.
of going to the fair.
Did you go with her?
And so we went to the
Yes,
fair in the
she came
morning,
up just for that reason.
2 days in a
I
row.
didn't know if he went.
In the morning. Yes. We went together. And my only thing at going to the fair at 8 in the morning
Well, yeah.
and then having to wait
Yeah.
for places to open
Right.
was to see, all right, I'm going to see. And you know what? Okay, I had it all.
Uh-huh.
I had it all. I've had it all at the fair. And I'll just tell you this.
Can I say one
Wait,
thing?
can I just
No.
finish?
Okay.
Can I finish?
Can't
You have-
finish. Lacquer.
Look, the what are the Wisconsin cheese curds? Right.
The
Okay.
curds.
You remember when the fair was the only thing that had cheese
Yeah,
curds 15
yeah.
years ago? But now you got all these restaurants that have cheese curds.
Go to Culver's and
Can I tell you something?
love
The
Culver's.
restaurants have better cheese curds than the fair. And just like the cookies, Lonaiah makes better cookies.
I do make better
than
cookies
Martha's.
than Sweet
Sweet
Martha's.
Okay.
Lonaiah's cookies.
All right, I had the deep fried Snickers bar, deep fried Milky Way bar. I had it all. Right? You know, can I just say 15 years ago this stuff wasn't really found out there.
Right.
That's why it was so good. Now all the restaurants got smart and they make this food. And it's better. The best thing for me on the fair, and you're going to think this is really weird, was the deep fried olive on a stick.
Ooh, that sounds delicious. I haven't had that one.
And you either love olive or you
love
you hate
olives.
it, right?
Yeah.
But that's the best thing I had at the fair was
Yeah.
a deep fried olive on a stick. Cheese curds, restaurants have
Yeah.
better. Hot dogs, restaurants have better. No, corn dogs, all right.
Corn dogs
They're
are great.
They're corn, but
Yeah.
are you
But
going
you
to
don't
eat
really
5
go
corn dogs
get
at the
'em,
fair?
right.
No, you're not going to eat 5 corn
didn't-
dogs at the fair.
Yeah.
Do I seem intense about this? Yes, I'm intense about this because Lonaiah doesn't like my take on the food.
Oh, I didn't know I was.
I didn't have fried pickles until the fair, but now you can get them pretty much anywhere. I love fried pickle. I like all of that fried food. It's delicious.
Yes.
But you're
Yes.
right. It is proliferated the restaurant scene for sure.
Where it was the fair food was so good
Yeah.
15 years ago because really you couldn't find
Right.
cheese
No,
curds
that's-
unless you were
that's
in
a good point.
Wisconsin. You couldn't find cheese curds. There was nothing.
I still like the fries from the fair, and
There's staples that you go
love
to, and you just get your
those
certain
fries,
staples, and
right.
then you like fries,
Right.
pickles, cookies.
cookies.
Tom
I think
Thumb.
Those fair
Mini
fries are like
donuts.
Five Guys fries.
maybe
I know,
you
but
should.
like I'm just saying,
They're like Five Guys
but
fries.
like it's just the experience of like going there and eating and people watching and like going to the milk
Yeah.
bar and looking at the cows and then getting a shake. It's
cows.
just
yeah. You should open Linnaeus cookies. They're just
I
a
should
little
actually.
bit
Sweet
saltier.
Martha, when she like entered, she didn't want to do cookies. She was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, can I do?" I can't remember what it was. One of our friends is friends with her family. She's like, "Can I do? Let's just say jam." And they're like, "We already have a jam place. You're gonna do cookies. Here's the recipe
Yeah.
you're gonna use." That's what
Crazy.
they do. Yeah. And now, Sweet Martha is $1 million company. So
I missed.
Brazilian dollar company.
Who's up above Bethany said something about so passionate, but I'm missing that. Are you mad, Pastor Jim?
It's Jennifer.
No,
She's not.
I'm not mad.
He's
I just-
passionate.
I just was disappointed with the fair food.
Yeah.
Bethany says fried pickles are not the same outside the fair. I wouldn't know because I don't even get fried pickles at the fair, right? Corn
I've
on
got-
the cob, that's
Oh,
fair.
that
I don't
is
eat.
good.
I don't go
Corn
to
on
the
the
fair
cob
to
at
eat
the
corn on
fair.
the cob.
It's
it's
delicious. though.
$3. You get it on your way to something else.
and it's buttery and it's delicious.
It's
We
good.
could put butter on
We've
it.
got
Corn
right
on the
next to the
cob.
alligator stand.
We've got a vendor that we used to work with in Sturgis at the motorcycle rally. That he has a booth in one of the food buildings, and he's got cinnamon rolls. They're fantastic.
Ooh.
So
I love cinnamon
Freddie,
rolls.
We come and visit Freddie for sure.
If you're not at the fair and you want a really good cinnamon roll, Isle Bun.
Isle Bun. Yeah.
Isle Bun and
Lake,
coffee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
Isle
my
Bun
wife's
and coffee.
favorite place. Yeah.
And if you get a dogwood, I think it's a dogtail.
Dogtail. Puppy tails.
And
puppy
hey,
tails.
if you want extra cream cheese, it's like an inside, like off the menu. You ask for extra
Yeah,
cream
and
or
they're
extra
happy. They
icing,
just-
and they slap it in a cup. And
Yeah.
one weekend, I ordered them, and my kids were tired of them because I had driven there at like 6 a.m. to get them, and I ate like 2 cinnamon rolls the whole day. They're like this big.
They're massive.
They're so good.
Yeah.
I'm a sweet person, so
Yeah,
I'll eat.
You
if
are
I'm
the
gonna
sweetest.
eat sweets, I eat a lot and then pay the price later. Like, did
Like
you
the
bring
rest
in
of
3
my
donuts?
life. I did.
Yeah.
John brought in 3 donuts last week. I think it was last
Couple weeks
Wednesday.
ago. Yeah.
And so
They're just like glazed croissants from Cub.
Yeah.
They're
ask
really
Lonaiah.
good.
I made the decision and I ate all 3 donuts.
Like
in
in
one-
like 5 minutes.
less
He
than
just
5.
kept going.
They're buttery and sweet.
Yeah,
It's
they're
less
good.
than 5.
They're delicious.
And so I don't eat sugar because that's how I eat it. If I'm going to eat sugar, then I'm going to really eat sugar.
I've never
Right.
felt closer to you than right
I'm going to
now,
eat as
Jim.
much sugar as I can. I'm not going to eat a piece of pie. Then I'm just not going to eat the pie.
So this is
Right?
the same thing your dad does with.
I know
Pecan
he
pie?
does. I know he does.
Is
I'm
that-
not. That's but I'm not any kind of sugar, and that's why I do not do sugar. I do not do sugar. So I did do the fried Snickers, deep fried Snickers, but then I went back and I got a deep fried Milky Way immediately after that, right?
Yeah.
And you just start down that trail.
Yeah.
And so that's why I do no sugar. I'm more of a salt person. But let's go with the next question, Lonaiah.
Okay, this is from Les. She said, or I don't
Less
know if
is
it-
more.
Yes, I understand the truth regarding the void on earth pre-Adam and Eve. I often wondered, why, and we probably will not know until after the rapture, but why did it have to be fixed by God? What happened? Did God give Lucifer a chance and he screwed it up royally? Even though he screwed it up, did he think he could do better? The split between God and Lucifer, like had God had enough? It was just a thought. What, you want to read
Well,
it?
Yeah, I was.
because you
sorry.
talked about that at church last week. Is that what it was? You talked about the.
Like why God cast Lucifer out
Yeah.
of heaven and
Yeah.
then he was giving
Oh,
God
yeah.
a chance. So then what happened? But I feel like Psalm 2,
Yeah.
this is just my opinion,
Yeah.
explains that. Explains that the devil was down here and ruling and reigning and God was like, you're done. But that's just my take, which
Because he
is,
was starting a rebellion.
yep.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to decipher this this question. So did God give Lucifer
A chance.
a chance and he screwed up? No. Boy, we should almost do it. This is almost the whole teaching, but
Right.
the Bible says that when Lucifer deceived 1/3 of the angels, and he ascended to heaven, and he invaded heaven in essence with the 1/3 of the angels. There was a war, and but he came from the earth, and he was ruling on the earth, and he lost, and he was thrown back down to the earth, right, with his angels. And I believe that's what I believe in. Obviously, he was here, and a lot of commentators believe that him hitting the earth, and a lot of people think something really big hit the earth at one point. Him hitting the earth was the reasoning for the death of the world, and the world went null and void at that point, right? So the earth had already been created in Genesis 1:1, millions of years between Genesis 1:1, 1:2, before God actually creates man, right? And why is Satan still down here? I don't believe he had a chance. I don't believe he was being given a chance. But can I tell you something? What would Adam be? Would he be any more than a robot, right? If there was nothing at all to offset Adam living in perfection and doing everything God said, because he has to do everything God says, doesn't he? He has to, right? No, he doesn't.
No,
he doesn't.
No.
And it wouldn't be fair.
That's why Adam had directive, a commandment, which was to eat from the tree of life.
Which he never did.
No, he
Can't find him doing.
He forewent that. That was his.
He
deal.
was too busy looking
Is
at
this
Eve.
the
He
week
didn't
you
eat
talk
any of
about
it.
You know
the
how it is.
millennium and in the weekend services? Is this the weekend you talk about the millennial?
Yeah.
Okay, because
the
in
millennium was last
okay, then we can.
Oh yeah.
Saturday.
Because
Yeah.
in
You guys
that
need to come to
message
church.
you were saying I was at church.
I was online.
But here's my question, or here's my thought about that. In that sermon, you made a point that said, in that time,
Mm-hmm.
there won't be any evil. God won't let anything try.
There
and
won't be any demonic evil.
Right. But you're saying that these people still need God. So even, because like, don't you kind of think, Adam, I could have made a better decision and I wouldn't have taken a bite of the apple? Like, you go through that in your head and you all blame Adam. But really, God is saying, without God, humans continually make the wrong decision and they fall every time. That's what you said in your sermon. Do you know what I'm talking about?
They have the opportunity to fall.
I was just totally spaced out because I was reading Jimmy's.
Jimmy, yeah.
Yes, I was
Okay.
reading Jimmy's last
I was
thing.
gonna give
I'm
that
so
to you.
Sorry.
That's okay. We'll go to the next question.
No. I mean, did we answer that though? About wait.
Well, I'm just saying,
what did
like,
you, I'm sure you had a great point. I'm sorry.
it's fine.
I was in La La
I
Land
don't
looking
even
at
know
Jimmy's
if I could
question.
read.
Yeah.
Now that I can see the
Yeah.
stuff, it throws me, right?
So
in the past, I
what
haven't
she
been
was
able to-
saying is in the millennium, obviously, or you talked about at church, was that you won't have demonic influence, but people still have free moral agency.
Yeah.
So they can still choose, and so you're going to see the result of human nature without a demonic influence. So people are still going to have the ability to choose
Right.
for life, and
But there's nothing to choose. I mean, yeah, they can choose against God in the millennium, and some will. But think about it. There's no disease.
right.
There's no. You don't have anything. Any babies being born with deformities. All types of disabilities are gone. What are you really going to choose? I mean, what you're really going to choose in the millennium is, I'm going to live this perfect life, this easy life, or I'm going to say, we rebel, God, right? I mean, do you get what I'm saying? That's why he has to lose. He has to lose Satan.
Right.
He has to lose Satan for a little time, because all those people that are born in the millennium, there's going to be a population surge. They wouldn't have chosen. Technically, they wouldn't have. Listen, we fight a spiritual battle every day. You fight everything. You fight temptation. You fight. You have to fight not being afraid every day. Honestly, if you really want to go there, right? You have to. And I know not everybody has to fight that, but I'm saying I know a lot of people that live in oppression and depression and things like that. And yes, there's still a flesh and blood body, and man can still fall, and not everything is the devil. All right. But it's not fair. It's not fair for those people that are born in the millennium to never
Have
a opportunity to say, no, I want the evil side. I want the evil side. Again, they will.
Yeah.
You're going to see that needed to happen.
Yeah.
Because they will.
Right.
They will choose the devil. And tune in this Saturday night.
Yeah.
Right.
John,
Anyways.
do we have questions online that you want to hit?
We do. First, I want to say hello to Cheryl G. Debbie Lee is here. Jimmy brought a question about end times here. How do you factor in the part of the Bible that says all will hear the gospel before the return of Christ, all nations? He was saying that the AG Church says about 40% of the world is unreached.
And you know what? I just heard Jimmy Swaggart, who's Assemblies of God, on his, because I watch the Sunlight broadcast, that channel all the time. He said it's almost one. Jimmy Swaggart's numbers, and Jimmy Swaggart has written commentaries on 32 books of the Bible, and you're talking about one of the if you're talking about a living evangelist, there's probably not a person that's won more souls to God than Jimmy Swaggart. Yeah. And he's 87 years old, and he says just about the whole world has heard the gospel. And so I do not personally believe in the 40%. I was hearing 40% when I got back from Singapore in 2005.
Yeah.
And so I think it's, I don't believe that number. And, you know, we won't know. We're not going to really know if everyone on all these little Indonesian islands that you could call a rock that's only 2 miles wide has actually heard it, and they're still running around. We don't know. You know, there's and the Papua New Guinea and all those places.
Yep.
I remember in Afghanistan, like a couple of years ago, when they were doing the withdrawal, and all those Muslims were getting visited by Jesus, like in their sleep, like he was coming and talking to them.
Still happening with Muslims.
Yes.
I think that's going to keep happening,
Yeah.
and I think that's. I mean, we can't count that out. I mean, the human effort is.
So, like, I know
alone.
a lot of people put a lot of pressure on humans to do that, but also, like, there's a spirit, and God is handling the people who can't be reached.
He's merciful, and when he sees someone brought up, and let's just say Islam, out there in one of those villages, you know, in the mountains of Afghanistan, and he knows that nothing is going to reach them. That's why you've got so many Muslims having visions and dreams of Jesus himself.
Yeah.
Probably because he knows they're not going to get it. They're not going to get the chance before. And so I think he's, even guys.
God always makes up our portion.
Guys at Mecca, MECCA, their most holy site, having visions, right? This is documented stuff. And so, you know, so what do we got? Lonaiah, do you have?
Yeah, but
John had
like 2 more.
Okay, sorry.
DP says, when is Jim doing another sermon? Sunday sermon. It's going to be a little bit of a while.
Right? September?
Yeah, I do Saturday nights through the month of August. My dad is back in there on Sundays. We do have one weekend where we have Jesse Duplantis doing Saturday and Sunday. And so I have Saturday, August 5th, Saturday, August 12th, and then I have one more Saturday in August, okay? And then I do Labor Day weekend. Like I said, you can always catch me at Living Word on a Sunday on the minor holidays. I'm happy to see
the
you.
minor prophets.
Except Memorial Day. Right, that's the only minor holiday I don't do. Otherwise, major holidays, you won't catch me on Easter, not yet. You won't catch me on Christmas, but you'll catch me on all of them.
You'd be great at Christmas, though.
The minor holidays.
Well, you always get New Year's right after Christmas. So that's always good.
Came back.
Yeah, you're back.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Then let's see here. DP. Okay, Cheryl G said. Do you think the people with extra digits or excessive height or size could be Nephilim descendants?
Wow, that's such a good question. I have to say I don't know. I mean, but wow, right? So that's a point, because what if they've been around? I mean. What stops someone that's got 0.5% Nephilim blood?
Yeah, or even, I mean, that's only a handful of generations back,
and they accept Jesus,
right?
Ooh. So I'm not. That's what that question made, that made me go.
Right.
Is wow.
I will never.
That's just I don't. I have to say I don't know. I have to say, I would love to think yes. Yes. Why would that not happen? If I'm talking about women who are standing around, in this church, running into one in the parking lot up at Elk River, and she didn't tell me that. One of her closest friends told me that, is also a serious prayer warrior, and I know who this woman is, and I know this woman is not going to lie, right? And and
well, hasn't there been proof of like people in government saying Nephilim? Didn't we just hear
a few? It's it's not widely spread, but there's.
And we were just talking to a guy out like on our way down to the coffee house, and he was saying that there's a video of a lady in an airplane. Saying that there was a Nephilim on the airplane or something like that.
I have mixed feelings about that one.
I didn't see it.
Anyway, I would always.
Did you see that one?
I've
Did you look at
seen
it?
I've seen the video. Yeah.
Okay.
I would always land on the side of God's mercy and God's grace.
Of course.
If someone, no matter what their blood mix, their
0.0000 something percent,
Right.
whatever it is,
if they are calling out on their name of Jesus,
Yeah.
I'm always going to land on God's mercy right
Right.
there.
Can,
Hey,
can I just clarify?
Rollo could have been a Nephilim.
Right. But can I just
Rollo
clarify
the Vikings.
something about Jim and Sunday mornings? Because there's like some chat about that. So if you are not a Living Word attendee and you want to hear Pastor Jim,
Yep.
he does Saturday nights at Living Word
Yep.
at 5 p.m. here. But you can always go on Living Word's
Always.
YouTube for Pastor Mac or
Yep.
Pastor Jim's messages.
Yep.
Just to clarify for
You can catch all those messages in order.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
you
we
know,
have it in
and
a
not
series.
everything's revelation. Mother's
Right.
Day was a different message. Father's Day was a different message. July 4th
That was, yep.
was a different message. And so we're just finishing Revelation.
Yeah.
Revelation 21 this week. We have 2 more weeks on Revelation, and then I'm going to go into the book of Acts, but I'm going to do something else for a few weeks right before Acts. And so
There's also, just
ha-
wanted to say shout outs to Matt Harris and G. Yarfile. Thanks for being here.
Yes,
yes,
thank
thank you.
Are we ready for these questions from
do it.
from Daniel?
Wait.
What?
Oh,
Wait.
Daniel, that's
Never
a
mind.
scary.
Yeah.
That's a scary thought.
He's got a few.
But it's probably gonna be I don't knows, and so that's why I would have loved to have gone over this. That's what I was trying to tell you guys. Is I'm usually very prepared. I know how I'm going to answer stuff, but because
You're
Yeah.
at the Southwest Believers
I was in
Convention.
Fort Worth,
The
Texas.
SWBC.
And which was very good for me.
Yeah.
To go and get in the actual presence of other ministers. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I do a lot of watching and listening to other
Mm-hmm.
sermons and other ministers, and trying to just research my own stuff.
Yeah.
But when I realized, wow, I need to do this more often. I need to go to a convention where I just sit and listen to these people. There is something, and we have to have our online congregation. We love our online congregation,
Yes.
and our online congregation is as important to me as the people that come.
Yeah.
But the Bible does say that to show up in person, I believe.
Assemble yourselves together.
Yes, and there is something that's there, and it reminded me of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually when you're on the stage, you don't have any idea
It's tough.
what's going on. You don't know how it went. You don't know how it went over.
Mhm.
Sometimes you leave the stage and think, that was awful. I'm going to switch it before tomorrow morning. And then other times you think,
Yeah.
And so I just say, I have done 18 Sunday mornings this year since January. And so, and I'll do a few more, but
Yeah.
for the most part, it's all Saturday nights for the rest of the year.
Okay, are we
So-
ready for Daniel?
Yes.
I have seen some stuff. Am I like a little fuzzy?
You're
Little
a
bit.
little fuzzy.
Okay.
Hold on.
Now,
We're getting there.
you just want to read the questions?
I'll read it here real
Well,
quick.
don't let that keep you from talking, Lonaiah.
It's okay. Is that better?
Lower your voice.
It's
Lonaiah.
coming.
I
Go a
can't
little
lower
lower.
From Daniel.
Okay.
I've seen some stuff out there about Nephilim and the animals, and that the Nephilim had started to alter animals to further corrupt the earth. And is that why God had the animals that were not corrupted come to Noah?
I believe so. Look at the bear in China. Has anyone seen the sun bear?
No.
That
You think
was-
that's a person?
Hold on, no, because the UK came out with a video saying that
Hold
they
on.
also had a sun bear, the same.
A sun
This
bear?
Guys,
bear
sun bear?
looks like a person in a costume,
It does, but it was.
but he's not.
It's not.
I don't think he
No,
is.
because the UK has the same video of the sun.
It's not
I
there.
don't know if people can hear me, but
Test.
it's
It's not working.
The UK also sent a video.
It's not working.
It's not working. It's okay.
So, Lynette,
Here. Hold on.
you wanna? Can we share a
Okay,
mic?
here.
Let's.
I'm just saying that the UK came out with the video and they sent it out to support China because China was getting attacked for the sun bear. So it's really what the sun bear does.
The sun bear
test.
You know, when I
Okay.
first saw the sun bear,
What
I
the
thought
heck
it was
is
a person.
What
John,
the
I'll
heck
show
is
you.
a sun
I'm
bear?
gonna show
I have
you, John.
no
Zoo.
idea what you guys are talking about.
well, you got to Google it.
I'm gonna show you, John.
I saw this sun bear standing up, looking at crowds.
Yes, yes.
And I was like, that is so stupid. That is a person in a costume.
That's what I thought too.
And this bear looked like a person.
It did. It really, really did.
It looked like a person.
It did.
And so this leads us to say, what a great question. And that the Nephilim had started to alter the animals to further. Yes, I believe the Nephilim started to alter the animals. And let me tell you something else. How many times did God tell Joshua, all the way to King Saul, to murder, or excuse me, to kill, annihilate, not just the women and children of civilization,
destroy.
animals.
Yeah.
Animals, because the animals were affected. By
Especially
the
because Joshua's mission was to clear out Canaan, right? Because that was like the epicenter of all the Nephilim
yes,
activity.
and whole cultures. God told Joshua, eliminate them all, even the animals. So that is such a smart question. Who wrote that
Daniel, our
Of
guy
course.
Daniel.
Classic Daniel.
Yes,
Daniel.
and that's a great point. But I think we're going to start seeing that now. All right, you're going to, I believe, and I think it's very interesting that I'm just watching a bear
That's so
on
crazy.
the
I haven't
news,
seen
and
it.
this bear,
My phone won't work.
it looks like a Halloween costume.
It really, really does. I thought it was fake.
But I
at
knew
first.
in my spirit, that's a real bear.
But I will
That's a
say,
real bear.
the bears at the zoo. Me and my son Wrigley went to the Indiana
That's sad.
zoo, and this bear just kept doing the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Oh, I
so
see.
the bear, yeah, you see it now.
Yeah.
Look
Okay,
at
ready?
standing there, John. You can't tell me that it doesn't look like an
Well,
outfit.
It looks like a costume.
Bears actually have kind of a similar structure in a lot of ways because they can stand flat-footed.
They can. Have you seen the bears that are like so hot they're going in people's swimming pools?
Yeah, it's so funny.
I just love anything with bears. Okay. So this is from Daniel. The past few weeks, talking about the Nephilim, you've talked about the mighty men of the past being Nephilim, such as Hercules and such. A lot of mythology surrounding them is that they were trying to attain their place in and with the stars. I have read and heard references to the stars biblically can be a reference to angels. Could this be a reference to Nephilim attempting to be saved through works?
Interesting. Well, I think
this is stuff I should have seen beforehand.
Yeah.
I
I think
gave
that there
I
is
know.
absolutely a
We got
person
distracted.
inside that.
No,
No,
John, the
there's
UK
not.
came with their video of the sun bear and did the same
It
thing.
It's a real bear.
I
Like
will-
the feet look like.
I know.
And it
I
looks
will,
like
I'll
he's
put
got
the
like
link on this
like a
podcast.
20-pound beer belly.
And
Yeah.
if you look at the
It
back
looks-
of its neck, it looks like it is a costume, but it's
Yeah,
not a costume.
It's a real bear.
I don't buy it.
Okay. We're going to find out it's a real bear.
But back to Daniel's
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
Are you trying to deflect?
No, well, no.
John?
Like, let me think more about it. Please
Wait.
read the question again.
Okay. The past few weeks talking about the Nephilim, you've talked about the mighty men of the past being Nephilim, such as Hercules and such. A lot of mythology surrounding them is that they were trying to attain their place in and with the stars. I have read and heard references to the stars biblically that it can be a reference to angels. Could this be a reference to Nephilim attempting to be saved through works?
Absolutely. I mean, I just think absolutely. Anything that went on back then, I pay so much more attention to what's told about. Without some of the books can be a little sketchy, but I've read so much on the Greek mythology because I read about Greek history.
Yeah.
The Battle of Marathon, the Greeks against the Persians, the 300, all that stuff, the Salamis, the naval battle. And so you can't read about Greek history without understanding what the Greeks believed in regards to their gods.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying I come across a lot of that, right? And I put nothing to his question. I would never, that's something I've never even thought of.
I know.
And it makes me.
Daniel is the guy that makes you think about things.
I mean, let's just
I have
stick
some-
Daniel in my chair.
I
right?
have
Because
some. Do you have an answer to that? Otherwise, I have some more questions that came in through the email.
It's amazing. It's an amazing question, but Look, can I tell you this? I've never even thought of that before, but you have to agree with that based on if you know anything about Greek mythology and how those gods ruled and what their goals were and what they were trying to do.
Well, and
yes.
I mean, we look at Abraham and Lot, who in the Bible are spoken of in the New Testament, that they were made righteous because they believed in God. They believed what he said. So if that chance is afforded to those people, I don't know, but to see or think that some of those demigods from Greek mythology to say, they were hoping to land on the side of good,
It's really got me thinking all of this because I'm sorry, I was going into.
Yes, I have used BLT with cheese this week. Yarful. I use it weekly.
I think it's now part of the Final Hour podcast lingo.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Did you have something to say, Jim, before I ask a question from
Go ahead,
online
Lonaiah.
listener, Hayden, my good friend? And I wondered this
Hayden from
myself,
Tennessee?
Hayden.
I can't believe
But I
Hayden's
couldn't ask because it's not my place. But which kid does Jim believe is going to get Rollo if he doesn't go on the rapture with him? Which child, Jim? Because now you got three people that aren't going in the rapture.
I do?
Well, like you're saying,
Three
Jamie,
people.
Hayden, and Rollo if they don't go in the rapture
No,
with
Rollo's going in the rapture.
But Hayden, you're questionable, but Rollo
I
is
joke
going.
with my kids.
I know this is from Hayden.
That is one of my kids. Okay, she exposed herself.
She
right?
did.
And so, and actually, she won't. This whole podcast was her idea.
Look at Rambo's watching you. Say hi to Rambo.
Wow. Her this whole podcast was her idea.
Yes.
And so this is why we're doing this.
Hayden,
But
look, see?
Hayden, it
little
would.
Rollo.
Rambo.
And Jamie-
Bobby.
Oh, Rambo.
Rambo's watching.
Did he see Rollo?
Rollo,
Maybe.
my dog, is my daughter's dog's nephew. Okay?
Keeping
Yes.
it in the
And
family.
actually, Rollo is Lonaiah's dog's niece. Right?
No, aunt, nephew. Fenway
Lonaiah's
is aunt.
dog.
Yeah.
Lonaiah's dog
There-
is Rollo's aunt.
Yeah.
Auntie.
My daughter's dog is Rollo's uncle.
Yes, but
Right?
yes.
Okay.
Are
And
they-
so-
siblings?
There's half.
They're
Rambo
half and
and Fenway are half.
and we just
But-
got my dog together with John's dog to make a bunch of other Rollos.
Rolloitos.
So, what?
Yes, half
Little-
Rollo,
little
half
Rollos. Hazel.
Hazel.
Listen.
Hayden has another question.
Wait. It would go. The dog would go to you, Hayden. I think that's in the will. Haven't we put that in the will?
It's in writing.
It's in writing. The
Hayden.
You're just going to have to
Look,
wait to go
my
through
son
probate.
lives in L.A.
No.
He's
There's
not
no
gonna-
probate in the rapture. It's just you want that dog, it's yours.
My son's in L.A. right down.
That's not a place for dogs.
No. He does have a park across the street, but what you're going to take Rollo out once a day on the leash? Trust me, Rollo has a much better life than that.
Okay, Hayden would like to know if we'll be singing for eternity in heaven.
That's annoying. No, but that's a good question. No.
That's annoying.
If you think that when we go to heaven that we're all going to be in a 12-hour-a-day worship service, can I just be honest?
I would
and
cry.
No disrespect, all right? Lord, nobody wants that, okay? That very few people want that. All right, so no, and I just get so bugged because
It was
she
a
does-
joke. I think it was on purpose to get you riled up.
Yes,
But I will say, I listened to
that's not going to happen.
worked.
I
really
listened
well.
to Joe Morris say that there's going to be competitions, like people playing basketball. You're going to
Absolutely.
be doing things that you did down
Absolutely.
here in heaven.
Yes.
Because if I was going to be singing for eternity,
No.
then I think about eternity forever and ever and ever, and I'm like singing the whole time.
This is training for what you're going to do in heaven. And let me tell you something. Eternity, right? Think of it as a long string.
I try not to think about eternity.
Eternity on a time. Let's say this is eternity. Well, your life is like that much.
Yes.
And you're in training here for what you do for the rest of your life. And I'm just saying we're all going to get up there, and when we get placed, I'm sure that we can get promoted
Right.
once we're up there. But you're gonna wish. You're just gonna wish. And you know what, Hayden? Because you're my daughter, I will get you a really good spot up there, right? But otherwise, no,
Hayden.
I'm just kidding. a mess.
I'm sorry that you have to live with this.
I tease my kids, you know.
course.
Yeah.
I tease
We
my
know.
kids
Oh,
about
we
not
gotta.
going
You
in
have
the
to.
rapture, but I believe my kids are going in the rapture. They believe Jesus Christ.
You guys,
is their Lord and
I
Savior.
have
Yeah.
like a box for my kids in case
But Hayden would get-
somebody
Hayden
didn't
would
go,
get Rolo.
and with all their favorite goods in it. So if a child gets left behind, like
Yeah.
they'll have pancakes and chocolate chips.
The old rapture kid.
Hayden would get.
You guys, when COVID happened, you didn't know what was going to happen. So
Right.
like you have this big, huge
Yep.
container. I was like trying to tell my kids like where things are and what to do. And the bucket I made was so heavy that
Yeah.
like my oldest son, he's pretty strong. He's like, Mom, how would we even carry this in case of an emergency to
Yeah.
like get anything? So
Oh, man.
Hayden said, wow.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Hello to Fourth in the Fire from New York. Thanks for watching, as well as Joe Ricciardi.
Yes.
Ricciardi?
Riccardio?
Riccardi?
I don't
I'm
know.
so
I'm
sorry.
sure it's
I'm
Italian.
butchering
I'm
that.
sure it's beautiful.
But from Austintown, Ohio. We
Oh,
got
sweet.
Why, oh,
Yeah.
why, oh, did I ever leave
Thank you,
Ohio?
Lord. From Ohio.
That's a
And
great
I just saw
question.
someone else from New York.
New York, yep.
All
That's,
right.
Thank you.
Fourth in the Fire from
Yes,
New York.
Yes.
Appreciate it, guys.
Ready? Question from Larry. Do you think that Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Yeti, etc. are actually the Nephilim?
Yes, I do.
They all appear to be different kinds of animalistic beings because they're also different from each other, yet I think they could all be Nephilim.
But yet they're so elusive. Are they not?
Yeah, I guess.
So elusive. Could that be because of a higher level of intelligence, right? I mean, like, you have these. Have you ever watched Monster Quest? Group after
No.
group after group after professionals trying to go out and get a shot of Bigfoot, catch a Bigfoot.
Right.
And you know what? But I'm just telling you, you know, so many people, the skeptics, right? I honestly just kind of laugh at the skeptics. And if all these people, they're all lying.
Right.
Everyone that has seen a Bigfoot has joined in the little party,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
All the millions and millions of sightings have joined in that little party and have gotten together, right? And you know, I just don't believe it. I don't. It's the same with the UFO people
Yeah, I
being
agree with
abducted. People being abducted.
Right.
They've all gotten together, right? And gotten together, and they've said it's one of three aliens. It's the little guy,
Right.
the guy that looks like a blonde-headed human,
Yep.
or it's the lizard guy. They've all gotten together. It's
You
a
mean
big,
like the Loch Ness Monster? Is that the lizard guy?
No, I think
No.
the Loch Ness Monster was a dinosaur.
Yeah, me too.
You do?
Yeah.
Don't you think it might be look like the serpent that the Whore of Babylon doesn't ride on a serpent, does she? Well, she's on like a dragon, right?
No, she
I will
she
tell
rides
you,
a beast.
I went to
She rides a
Loch
beast.
Ness. I went to that
beast.
lake and I looked out over there, and it is so eerie. You know something happened.
it's-
there.
You know what's really interesting?
So many people have seen things. There's pictures.
I was looking
I-
so hard when I was there. I was like, I want to see little bubbles.
So
and you do
in-
see weird things like that.
In the 1800s, the British or the Scottish
It's in Ireland.
yeah.
I mean, not Ireland, Scotland.
Scotland.
Yeah.
So they have a fort built at the mouth of Lake Loch Ness as it goes out into the sea.
Yeah, it does.
You don't see it, but until you look at it aerially, that fort is built in the shape of a dragon's head.
Insane. Well, I
It's just interesting. Most people don't understand it, but you
I-
look at the aerials and you're like, oh my goodness, someone did that on purpose, and I don't know if everybody understood that.
I'm going to tell you, though, we went to Scotland and we went to Isle of the Sky, and we went to this mountain. It's called like Man something.
The
and
Isle of Man.
I don't know what it's called, something like that, but you're climbing up and it is so mystical. There's a part where you feel like you're actually in a fairy tale. It's so green.
Weird.
And
Crazy.
I'm like, there was something here. It was like another world.
And if Lonaiah feels it like that, she's got the first time Lonaiah ever went to Singapore. I think that was the trip where you had your sister,
Yeah, Shayna.
and so they had never been there. And so, because I was trying to, we planted churches over in Indonesia for a few years, and so I remember Lonaiah knocking on the hotel door in the middle of the night, saying, "I hear." She says, "I was like, what do you want? It's 1 a.m., Lonaiah." She says, I hear cats. I hear cats everywhere. Cats. That's all I can hear. And I was
There's
like,
a weird screaming.
and I was like, well, Lonaiah, there's a lot of cats in Singapore. You know, because in Singapore they had the Tao religion. They leave a lot of food outside for their ancestors. You walk down a sidewalk, and so these cats are all over the place to kill the rats. Right.
But did you hear the cats screaming?
No, I
No,
did not.
see?
No, and so, but then we take a boat over to Indonesia, this island, and she knocks on my door another night.
You guys,
What?
I can still see
What,
this.
Lonaiah? And you know, what do you want?
Yeah.
Okay. And she's like, I saw a panther
Yeah, crawling up and over and down the
face
door.
down
Like,
the front of my room, a real panther.
it was like this big.
And I was like, Lonaiah, that's in the spirit. Okay.
You're like,
That's-
you're fine.
That's in the
Here's a
spirit.
confession.
You need to take your authority, right? But if she reads a book, if she reads a book that's fictional, that's a little eerie, or has got, you know, maybe it's got some paganism in
It's
it.
got some darkness.
Immediately she goes off and has a bunch of dreams.
You guys,
right?
I
So
had a
she's
book.
very sensitive.
Yeah.
I
to
had a
that.
book in my house a couple of months ago, and it was a book about somebody who died, and there was like something in the ground, and there was shoveling, and every night at a certain time I would hear like digging, and I live by two houses. That's it. The neighbors to my right, they're never home. The people across the street, we like stay to our side of the road, and every night I heard digging, and I was like, this is so weird. I think I came in and said it to you. And you were like, throw the book away. I threw the book away. Gone. Never heard that noise again.
Just
Kate
because
Morton,
of
Distant
a
Hours.
book.
Don't read it.
What is it called?
Kate Morton. She's the author. It's called Distant Hours.
No, let me tell you something. Just the presence of a book,
Yes.
and she was hearing digging,
Yeah.
which goes with what the book. And did you even know that?
Well, I remember
That
I
that's
was
what the
telling
book
you
was
that
about?
there was. Well, I thought about it after I had told you. I said, "What is going on? What should I do?" And you're like, "Take." And then you started asking me questions like, "Are you reading anything right now?" And then I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have this book." And it is
About a guy
Yes, he was like, yeah, it
that
doesn't
buries
matter.
the people he kills, correct?
Yeah, it's just
And
what
so-
I was reading. I don't know.
And what I'm saying is that
Be
as-
sensitive.
you have to be sensitive. You have to, because you're inviting. If you're going to read something like that, then you, in essence, and that's happened to me because I love fictional books.
Yeah.
Where I have known on the spot, I've got to throw this book
yeah.
away.
Well, even
I've got to
Lost,
throw this book away because you
show?
get that
Yeah.
feeling.
I had to stop watching Lost is like my all-time favorite TV show ever. Best thing ever. And I had to put it down for like a year because I had the weirdest things happening all the time.
And Lonaiah, way back, this is like 12 years ago, bothered me into watching Lost.
Yeah.
Right.
And got so offended that I only watched 3 episodes.
He's like, this is so dumb. I'm like,
You didn't even get to the hatch.
he didn't get to the hatch.
I know. It's second season.
And I was like, can I tell you then what happens? He's like, no. And I was like, okay, fine then.
What I need to,
No, there's some good things, John.
There-
Read us what's happening
but
online.
can
'cause-
I just see? Okay, Cheryl
Yeah.
G. Speaking
yeah,
of UFOs.
no, one before. Gotta
Oh,
go to
wait,
Jimmy's.
yeah.
Okay.
You gotta go to start with Jimmy.
Jimmy G was first. My friend's dad worked in the Forest Service in Idaho. He saw Bigfoot, said it smells like death and sulfur, moved lightning fast, and disappeared.
Can
Just
I say?
the giant of Kandahar? What did he smell like?
Yeah.
Death.
What did those
Yeah.
soldiers? Death. And I'm just
And
so
sulfur.
going back to that question. I absolutely believe the abdominal snowman, the dog men,
abdominal?
or the abdominal,
Abominable.
abominable,
Abominable.
abdominal.
I like
He's got abs.
it's a dude. He just hangs out in the
I
gym
think, did
all
he
the
have
time.
abs? Okay, but
All of them are Nephilim, in my opinion. Yes.
I'm just going to say the forest rangers on Reddit, I have done
Yeah.
some deep dives into.
Oh yeah.
They see like weird animals.
They
Animals
say
talk
they
to
would
them.
Never
There's
spend
like
the night out. In
tree stairs, like stairs that trees that have stairs that
Yes.
lead like.
And you
where?
know what? If you see the stairs,
Don't
Okay.
go in there.
Run.
and this is where this goes into me and Hayden, my
Yes.
daughter.
Well, yeah, she's the one who we talked about this. That's why I was remembering. She sends me the Reddit threads that
There
I
are
scare
portals,
myself with.
just like the angels, just like the angels in Jacob's ladder.
Yep.
Okay, but these tree stairs, and you know what? Think about the hundreds of thousands of people that have disappeared in Alaska.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not 1,000,
Hundreds of thousands.
not 2,000.
Yeah.
All right, since the 50s, that just poof, gone,
Sploosh.
gone. Right. So, and nobody cares. Oh, you can't. But you've got the skeptics. Oh, there's no this, there's no that. That's not going on. That's fine. You know what? Because I think if they admitted it, they would have fear.
Right.
They would have fear.
Yep.
And they'd rather not believe it because it keeps them from fearing. Where there's nothing to fear.
Right.
There's nothing to fear if you understand your authority. And so Cheryl G, speaking of UFOs, my neighbor's neighbor at their cabin in Wisconsin caught something weird on their trail cam. I thought it resembled a drone with a fish dangling from the bottom.
Could definitely be a UFO.
Absolutely. Could be something from the government too.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true. Who knows?
I mean,
Could be someone with a drone that was fishing with it.
I don't know. I think the UFOs are. Remember during
me.
COVID, when in the beginning of COVID, all those people were seeing weird things like in California, over the oceans, Arizona, that area, like the Grand Canyon area.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, from Lori, she said, "I'm loving these last few episodes. I went to order these books and saw another author's product that was similar. He seemed to be linking Psalm 82 to a judgment of these fallen angels. I wondered what you thought about that."
Psalm, I'll pull
I
it
have
up.
it. You want me
got
to?
it. Go for it.
Well, go ahead, John.
No, you got it.
So it says, God stands in the assembly of the representatives of God. In the midst of the magistrates or judges, he gives judgment as among the gods. How long will you magistrates or judges judge unjustly and show partiality to the wicked? Selah, pause and think of that. Do justice to the weak, poor, and fatherless. Maintain the right of the afflicted and needy. Deliver the poor and needy. Rescue them out of the hand of the wicked. The magistrates and judges know not, neither will they understand. They walk on in the darkness of complacent satisfaction. All the foundations of the earth, the fundamental principles upon which rests the administration of justice, are shaking. I said, you are gods, since you judge on my behalf as my representatives. Indeed, all of you are children of the Most High. But you shall die as men and fall as one of the princes. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for you belong all the nations. For to you belong all the nations. So she's saying, do you think that links to the fallen angels, the judgment of the fallen angels?
The first verse, God presides over heaven's courts. He pronounces judgment on the heavenly beings. So it's like.
Interesting.
Yes. I would think so. And this is why I love to be prepared, because what I would have done is I would have gotten a bunch of commentary for it's Psalm 82, you said? And I would have looked at what, how that particular psalm was interpreted by people that know a lot more than I know, but I didn't get a chance to do that. So all I can do is give you my opinion off just hearing it once. Yes, I believe that's it. Was there more to her question?
No, I mean, it's right there if you want to read it. She just said, I wonder what you thought about that. Cheryl G is forwarding a pic to the final hour email. I'm not sure what it is, but
of the thing in Wisconsin on the trail cam.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Oh.
We'll link that. If
G. Yarfel was asking about the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, yeah, I've wondered about that. I think it's a dark hole.
I think it's a portal to hell.
I do too.
Just like there's a portal to Jacob's ladder.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was created. I've read that's where they were dumping a bunch of slaves overboard coming from
Africa.
Coming from Africa.
Yeah.
Whether if it was slave mutinies or a bunch of slaves that died on the trip, right? And I don't know if it has to do with that, but just like there's portals, you can go. If you go to Israel and you go, I don't think we're going here on our trip, but I've been to where Jacob's ladder was.
No, we're not.
And it's a portal. It's a portal that's not so much needed after the death of Jesus to heaven, right? But was needed. You know, Jacob saw these angels coming up and down on this ladder, and I just think it's the Bermuda Triangle is very, very similar. There's something else like that in the woods of Alaska.
Yeah.
There's a triangle type thing in Alaska where all these people have disappeared.
There's
right?
a similar thing in on the coast of China and Japan, a similar triangle.
Yes, and also, if you really study the Alaska thing, and my daughter got me on this, this is where a lot of these stairwells have been seen, just out in the middle of nowhere.
My
Which
uncle,
you don't even know if it's
Yes.
are you
If
looking
it's-
at
are you
something
seeing
physical,
something spiritual,
or is it
or-
in the spirit,
Right.
or what is it?
Right.
And you know, there's a lot of people that believe that. The people that say, I'm going to see where this goes, they never come back. And so many people have disappeared. And I know we should put on the tinfoil, what are they called?
hats.
Yes.
Wait, we have a question by Joe. If there were Nephilim walking around today, would they know what they are or know that they had Nephilim blood in them?
I believe so. I absolutely believe so. Well,
I'm guessing their parents would explain it to them.
that could go two
You think
different
they're like
ways. That could go
The
two
evil
different ways.
murders. The
I don't know
serial
if you were-
killers have Nephilim
I don't
blood in
know.
them.
I don't know if you were on early in the podcast, Joe, but there's a woman from our church that's she's a prayer lady, and
You're right.
she's deep into the
good
prayer
point.
world, and she's got a business up in Elk River, and a guy walked in during almost closing time. He just had the weirdest look, and I trust this lady, right? This is why she walked right out in the parking lot. He's waiting by her car, and she says, "Are you a Nephilim?" And he said, "I absolutely am." Like, he didn't hesitate, you know. And she had an actual conversation with him, and so I think they do know now. Are there, like an earlier question, are there humans with just a tiny bit of blood?
Right.
A tiny bit of blood. I just don't know. You guys, did you think that these questions would be these in depth?
Yeah, I mean, I saw them.
I wasn't sure.
I offered to read the
It's
questions.
interesting to
We got sidetracked.
talk about it though.
We did. We had a morning. We got caught by some guys that we work with, and they asked some really great questions
The
about.
same type of questions.
Yes.
We stood out in the mall hall
Yeah.
arguing, all right, with
Kenesha-
Brian Hackler. Let's get Brian
and
Hackler.
Brian Hackler. But
giving
Kenesha's
a
watching, and she said, "I'm never reading a book again after your book story, Lonaiah."
Did you ever read Frank Peretti books?
Yes, all the time growing up.
How
And
about like
freaked out as a little kid?
This Present Darkness?
Yes.
I
I will tell you,
Piercing the Darkness.
the first time I saw anything in the spirit, we had just moved from our Brooklyn Park house.
Yeah.
We lived in an apartment for a while, and there was weird stuff there. And then we moved to our house in Plymouth. This is when I was a little kid. I was 7 years old.
yeah.
And I was in my room. I finally was in my room by myself because my twin sister had to sleep with me forever. Like, she slept with me till we were 18. And I remember I was doing something in the morning. I looked up in my window, and there was a shadow of like a figure,
Yeah.
but it was like just the shoulders and the head. And I was like, oh, that's so weird. And I went and I got my mom, and I was like, Mom, do you see that? And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about, Lonaiah. And then she walked out of the room, and I just stood there for a couple minutes, and I was like, that was the first. I remember vividly
very
remember.
clearly.
I can still see it.
Yeah.
Listen,
I was 7.
but we don't want to get into. You have
But-
authority over that. Like,
Yeah.
can I tell you something? If I have an experience like that, I immediately take communion.
Right.
And what I do is I don't take it in a normal way. Like, if I'm feeling like there's something creepy going on, or I was just in a hotel room, any hotel room I go into,
Yeah.
I take communion. You know what I say? I say, this is part of taking communion. I say, I proclaim that Jesus lives in this room.
Yeah.
Or I proclaim Jesus lives in this house. Jesus lives. And I say, I proclaim the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. And he lives in this house or this room and in my life. And he took the bread and he broke it. And then I take the communion. Right?
Yeah.
You can have authority. You have authority over these things. If you're seeing weird things, you're hearing weird things, okay?
I do have something to say about that.
I know, but I'm trying to. I'm letting.
I know.
Instead of telling a bunch of haunted.
No,
stories,
I'm gonna fix
what I'm
it.
trying to say is you have authority over that. Okay, you have
Yeah.
authority
Yeah.
over that. And we've talked again and again and again about how to do it. And if you don't do it, you don't wait until something bad
Right.
happens to start taking authority. You have to take it every day over your children, over your animals, your pets, your houses, cars, identities, bank accounts, money.
Absolutely.
Okay. and anything that would be assigned to coming at that stuff or try to affect that stuff in the name of Jesus Christ. You have to do that. So.
But I had a conversation with Pastor James Tan, who we've had on the show a few times, about that stuff. And he was telling me, Lonaiah, the devil is trying to, like, because he knows you have that gift. So he tries to distort it. So he's like, you have to rise above that and see what God wants you to see, because the devil's trying to get in on that level or that what's the frequency wave and like mess it up. So you have to get above that. And when he told me that, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I never thought that. And I did. Yeah. I was like, hey, what does God want me to see here? Like, what am I missing? Yeah. And it totally changed all that.
Changes everything.
Yeah, I'm not like, I turn around and I think I'm going to see something. But anyways.
Bethany Spiros, she's saying what I was going to say just now is Frank Peretti has the Cooper Kids series.
Oh, I heard about that.
And I read that as a kid in the mid-90s. And Tombs of Anak is in the Anakim. They were the sons of Anak. That's part of what that's about. And so that was like one of the first times I heard about the Nephilim was from that series. But it, those I feel like those books really approach spiritual things and how they affect the physical and what we deal with right now. But they always come through with the power of God and the power of Christ over those things.
Right.
And so Lonaiah got us there, though. But
listen,
you and me both, Bethany.
You can, I promise you can get yourself to a point where what did I hear the other night? I heard laughter, right? And I heard laughter, and I knew that when I woke up, I was like, oh, here we go, right? It's just one of those things,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew it was in the spirit, right? Especially, I knew I didn't even have to get up because I'm kind of a freak. Like, I wake up like that. I know if someone's out in my cul-de-sac talking. I know my neighbors. I know what time they get up. I know all that. Plus, Rollo is like a watchdog. He's all over this stuff.
Yep.
But I knew in my heart that was in the spirit. And you know what? It's like it's to the point where you can have no fear. Every day, I'm the righteousness of God in Jesus Christ. I'm far from oppression, and fear does not come near me. I'm the righteousness of God in Jesus Christ. Fear and terror don't come near me. In Psalm 91, which I do multiple times a day, I fear no evil, for you I will not be afraid of the terror by night, nor of the arrow that flies by day, nor the pestilence that walks in darkness, nor the destruction that wasteth at noonday. Say that back to the Lord every day. Okay, even after I've made him my refuge, even the Most High, my habitation. I fear no evil.
Yeah,
for you are with me, Lord. So 5-6 times a day, I'm saying that.
Right.
Yep.
I have no fear.
Right.
I fear why? Because of what comes from God, and I promise you, it might take a couple years.
Right.
But you really don't react to stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You really do not react,
Right.
Things like, I can tell you things that would give you goosebumps, where I've just been like, just kind of laughed at it. And I'm just going to say, not because of how great I am, it's because of what the word will do to you. It transforms your mind.
Yep.
It changes it changes your mind to how you see something like that. All right? Because immediately I knew the laugh was spiritual.
Yeah.
That I heard, right? It was not, I didn't even need to get up and look out the window and see if someone was in the cul-de-sac.
Yep.
Right? And I just kind of laugh. Like, I don't even speak to it. Like, because I know it's coming from the Spirit. And I don't mean to go, you've got to take your authority. You've got to, in this day and age, you have to speak the word out loud.
Right.
Okay? It's a very powerful thing.
And Joe and Linda, they write in a lot to the Final Hour podcast and send me things. So they're great. But he did make a good point, because the Living Word website does have your confessions.
All of those confessions.
It's lwcc.org/confessions, and it has the confessions that Pastor Jim's talking about.
On the Living Word.
Yeah, lwcc.org/confessions.
Yep. G. Yarfel said, I go and plead the blood of Jesus and put a bloodline over our property and over every nook and cranny, and not out of fear, but as a way of rebuking the enemy and changing my thoughts pattern.
I can give you true stories that'll blow your mind. There was a guy that lived in Canada, and he was a preacher, and his kids were home. They were teenage kids. He left his teenage kids at home, and they were lived out in the wilderness. They had a lot of pets and things like that, right? And suddenly he and his wife got this weird feeling in their hearts. They were preaching in the States. Their teenage kids were at home. They live out in the woods. They've got all these pets and dogs and stuff like that. And something told them to draw a bloodline with the blood of Jesus Christ in the name of Jesus Christ around their property. And that's how I do it. Every night when I go to bed, I draw bloodlines with the blood of Jesus Christ in the name of Jesus Christ around every door and window of my home. And just sitting in my chair. I don't walk to every door and window.
But you know what I do sometimes?
Okay, and I do it, but just let me finish. They did that. They did that. This couple does that. They're ministering in the States. They do it around their property up in Canada, right? They get back, all right? 6 dead rabid coyotes were dead at their property line. 6
couldn't
rabid
even cross it.
Crazy.
Rabies-infested coyotes trying to cross their property line.
Yeah.
Died at that bloodline. So yes, a bloodline is a very good idea, and you should do it every day. It takes only a second. Sorry,
No, that's
Lonaiah.
okay.
Go ahead.
John,
Yes.
did somebody else write another question?
Jimmy was saying spiritual seeing is so you can cooperate with the Holy Spirit and the angels. And Jennifer says, love you guys.
Jennifer.
Thank you to everybody who tunes in.
And what are we taking? What's that thing I just started taking that you pointed out that Jennifer gave us?
Oh, brain.
No, the brain restore I'm doing. But there's one other thing. It was for immunity.
Immunity.
Your immune system.
Oh, I don't know. I can't think of it right now.
V-I.
Oh.
I immune. I am.
I don't know.
Just started taking that. Took me a while, but just started taking it. Thank you, Jennifer, for the vitamins.
Lonaiah, you recently were on a
podcast. I was.
We should have done that
Monday.
up front.
It's okay.
Not everyone is still tuned in.
That's all right.
Sure.
Well, we'll have a link. But yes, I was on Purpose by Design with Dr. Pamela Hinkle.
Pamela.
She's amazing.
She's fantastic.
We kind of went through how it is to work with you guys, the behind the scenes of the podcast, all good things, what it's like to be Pastor Jim's assistant, kind of like your role in, I don't know, life. Yeah. It's kind of what we talked about. So like I kind of set the stage. So she's going to air that next Wednesday. We'll have a link if you care to watch it.
Great.
And
Purpose by Design.
Yeah, there'll be a link. And then the next week, so that's going to be on August 9th.
Check
and then
that out.
August 16th, they're going to re-air your guys's.
Cool.
Because she said mine led into that greatly.
Nice.
So say it again. When does Purpose by Design air with Lonaiah as the guest?
As the guest.
What day?
August 9th.
August 9th. Is that
it's a Wednesday.
Wednesday, August 9th. Purpose by Design.
Probably the most you're ever going to hear me talk consistently, consecutively. It was an hour and 15 minutes. I had a lot to say, I guess.
You just needed an opportunity, a safe place.
Where you didn't have to raise your hand?
And say like, not right now, Lonaiah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
No, he
I'm
was
still
trying to
here.
finish his story.
I thought he was done.
Oh, yeah.
He kind of went down like a rabbit trail, and I thought...
I felt off today. I don't know why I felt off.
Okay.
I feel like it was good.
It was great.
It was
good.
You guys should go live once a week and add that to your regular podcast. I have lots of questions.
Joe, write in those questions. We can answer the questions without having a live. Like at the end of some podcasts, I have asked some questions that people have wrote in.
Do you think we should go live? Let us know. How often? Once every 5, once every 10, once every 15, once every 20?
25?
I've had multiple people over the last week say that we should have a live audience.
I have heard that too.
Doing the podcast.
Chris and his wife Chelsea, they just had a baby. Yes, he's like, if you guys do it live, we want to be there. Like he just had a baby.
Yeah.
That morning he wrote in, was like, when are you guys going live again? And can we have a live podcast? Maybe Israel will be our first one.
We got
because we're on the final hour podcast.
12 days, 10 days in Israel.
Yes.
We should do 1 or 2.
No, just one. Let's not overdo
72
Jim.
of them.
Okay. Listen, we're gonna have to
Once
sign
a month,
off.
Cheryl says.
But once a month. Thank you for subscribing so much, and thank you guys for just tuning in with us live. It is a blessing. I thought maybe we might have, 3 or 4 people.
No, we
Jim,
were up
little
over
faith.
50.
Wow.
We had over 50 at a time here
And
just
so
a little bit ago.
That's
We
great.
appreciate you guys. We really do, and I was shocked at the questions, right? Because they're deep. Some of these questions, honestly, I've not even
Thought
They
about.
made me think about things I've not thought, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's hard to answer a question
I love
that
those.
you've never even thought about.
I love those.
Yes,
those kind
so
of questions.
multiple. And it got us going down this Nephilim road for sure.
It's important to understand.
And so we didn't even introduce Jerry. Thank you so much for how much you put into this.
Jeremiah.
No problem. Thanks for watching, guys.
And
Jerry's like the the Muppets mom. How you never see her face, but you just see her legs. That's what Jeremiah reminds.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, you should come put your face on the podcast. Your mom would love to see Jerry.
Yeah.
Our behind the scenes. If we saw Rollo, let's just
for sure. Sure. And then
we'll end.
Yeah.
This is for Tammy.
Jerry.
Tammy Joe. Here's your baby
Tammy.
boy. Say hi, Mom.
Doesn't he look like a giant cuddly bear?
He does. Jeremiah is the sweetest.
He looks like a cuddly bear.
There's Jerry. Hey, you had the PowerPoint.
So listen, thank you so much for tuning in to the Final Hour podcast. And you guys are in my prayers, all viewers, listeners, subscribers, every day. Every day I take authority in different areas of your life that he tells me to. And I know that it has an effect. I know it does. Nothing has more of an effect, though, except than when you take it over your own life, right? So remember that. Remember that. Use your authority. Don't let all these weird dreams and stories scare you. We're meant to dominate this stuff. God bless you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you.
See you next week.
God bless.
Today, Rafi is taking a ride without worrying about taking a fall. Charlotte has more room in her living room budget. Plasma donation can open doors simply by walking through this door. That's